Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it tossed their tiny raft and shoved them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost. The organ comes in. To the land of the lost, 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 lost. Banjos picking, banjos picking. Here comes Tyrannosaurus. Because the guy with the puppet, right? He was looking at the camera and going, turn to the camera. That was
Okay,
land
the
of the
interpretation for all you Gen Zs and millennials, that was Joe's uh, performance of the theme song from Land of the Lost, an old TV show from the
1970.
70s.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because recently, about a week ago, we had an important day, Dinosaur Day, June 1st. Now, who would have known that June 1st was going to be Dinosaur Day?
You did, I think.
I found out the same day, because I was just looking at the computer and it says Happy Dinosaur Day, and I'm like, what? It says, June 1st is Dinosaur Day, and I'm like, okay, that's good to know. What do we do for Dinosaur Day? I mean, how do you commemorate it? And I looked on the internet, but didn't see any guidance on that point. I mean, how would you commemorate Dinosaur Day?
Well, you could wear a T-shirt with a dinosaur on it,
Yeah. You could
or
go like,
you could go looking for dinosaurs.
right. Yeah. You could go walking up and down the street, right? And maybe go out in the woods. You think you'd find any Actually, you know what? You see I see dinosaurs all the time. I see them constantly. Did you know that?
You need a good pair of binoculars to see the dinosaurs when you go looking for them
Why is
out in the
that?
woods.
Why is that?
It is, it's just, oh man, I'm losing it again.
Well, what
I'm
species of
losing it
dinosaur
again.
what species of dinosaurs would you see with those binoculars? Would you see a
Uh,
Triceratops or a Diplodocus?
well, I guess you would need the binoculars for the T-Rex
For the
because
T-Rex?
you see that thing coming, you got to turn around and run the other way.
They had a top running speed of 35 miles per hour. And
Oh, really?
Usain Bolt,
Oh,
the fastest sprinter in the world, I think he gets up to around 27 miles per hour. So
oh.
be kind of tough to
So
outrun
that's
T-Rex.
actually pretty fast then, 35 miles an hour.
I mean, it's not,
When you told me
yeah,
that was yeah, okay. Well, if Usain Bolt can't beat him, then we're all in trouble. But
we're in trouble.
you're telling me you wouldn't turn around and run if you saw the T-Rex.
Maybe in a zigzag pattern and just try
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like that. I don't
Or
know.
just stand real still and maybe he'll think you're a tree or something.
Would hope. No, but in a more serious vein, there are still dinosaurs out there, and I don't mean like the ones in the Jurassic Park movies that they create in a lab. The dinosaurs are everywhere, and they just happen to have feathers and perch in trees called birds.
Oh,
Yeah, did you know
I
that?
see where you're going with that.
Did you know that birds are literally dinosaurs?
I did know that. I did know that.
Yeah. In fact, birds are all that is left of the dinosaur.
They're little tiny flying dinosaurs.
That is correct. Yeah. And it's funny because when I was a kid, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, when we were learning about dinosaurs in school, they said dinosaurs were cold-blooded animals. That's why they're called dinosaur. The word dinosaur means lizard or terrible lizard. And so even back then in the 70s, it was still commonly believed that they were cold-blooded. animals, that they were kind of like reptiles, which are cold-blooded. I guess at that even that late, they had not connected the fact that birds were actually dinosaurs, and we know that birds are warm-blooded animals, just like mammals, like us. And so the word was, well, maybe there were some scientists who knew that birds came from dinosaurs, but they were like, well, they evolved to get warm blood, but their distant dinosaur ancestors were cold-blooded. And then now the consensus is the opposite. Dinosaurs were definitely warm-blooded, just like birds. So that never changed. So it's funny how that
Really?
in the last 40 or
But I
50
thought
years.
dinosaurs were lizards.
No, they are their own species. They are not reptiles at all. They're a completely separate category.
Really?
Yep. And here's the other
I
thing.
had no idea.
They found Tyrannosaurus bones in Antarctica. And you might think, well, Antarctica, must have been, because the continents have moved over the billions of years. Antarctica was farther north, it was farther away from the South Pole. So that made sense because, the dinosaurs weren't able to handle these really cold temperatures. And actually, they were like, no, at the time this Tyrannosaurus lived, Antarctica was a very cold and snowy place even then, not as cold and snowy as it is now. So this was a dinosaur that lived in a snowy region. So can you imagine you're going across the tundra, miles and miles of snow, and then suddenly this Tyrannosaurus pops up, walking through the snow. Yeah. And then the other thing is that they probably had feathers. They found a Tyrannosaurus that had feathers on it. So it may have looked like
What?
yeah, so it may have looked like a giant bird.
Just dinosaurs were basically giant birds. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, it's a freak out thing, but if you look at a skull of a Tyrannosaurus head on, it kind of looks like the head of a chicken.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It kind of does. Yeah.
Well, I think dogs and bears were descended from a common ancestor, so you could kind of think of a bear as like a giant dog.
They do kind of look like dogs, don't they? Yeah.
Well, see that kind of messes up my whole picture that I had of evolution,
Yeah.
because I think of like you had the fish who became amphibians, who became the lizards, who became the birds, who became the mammals, who became humans. That's how I kind of think of evolution.
Yeah.
So you kind of threw me for a loop there.
Well, I mean, this is just what the scientists are saying about it, and some of it's funny because it's like just what your own senses will tell you when you look at these dinosaurs. They do kind of look like birds. Some of them do, particularly like I
Yeah,
said, Tyrannosaurus, except for
tri-
the
triceratops.
not
Is
really
that what they're
birds.
called?
Yeah, they don't really.
No, no, not the triceratops. The flying. What's the flying dinosaur?
Oh yeah, the
Pterodactyl.
pterodactyls. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. They're
Those could. I can see how those could be birds for
mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
So okay, here's the question though:
Mhm.
how many of the Jurassic Park movies have you seen?
I've seen, I think the first two or three, and then after that, I was kind of like, it seems like this movie is repeating because what's the basic line? Okay, we're going to make a movie. It's about these scientists that want to bring back the dinosaurs. They bring them back and they say, we're going to make this incredible theme park and people want to go there. But you know what? Things will get out of control and then the dinosaurs will start eating the people that go there. And that was kind of the story for Jurassic Park 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. They just,
Yeah, I
it's,
saw the first three, and I
yeah.
think I'm not sure how many they made after that, but I still want to see the rest of them. I think they're pretty cool.
But you kind of wonder about the scientists and the businessmen because it's always the same thing. The scientists are saying, well, we've had problems with them before, but this time we figured it out. And the businessmen are like going, yeah, we're going to make a killing with this park here with this
Yeah,
thing.
that
We're going
that
to do.
first
Nothing could
Jurassic
possibly go wrong,
that first Jurassic Park movie was just iconic. That was one
Yeah.
of the great classic movies.
What I like about it is that it has Newman from Seinfeld on it. You know,
Yeah,
that guy from Seinfeld,
yeah,
and he's, you know, he's trying to sneak the stuff out of the park so he can make money for himself, this greedy guy. And, you know, he gets a little tiny dinosaur ends up attacking him in his car. That's a pretty horrific moment, but you kind of don't feel bad for him because he's such a sleazeball, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So that's like one of my favorite scenes from the first.
Oh,
I mean, I don't like seeing Newland getting eaten by a dinosaur. Newman getting.
Newman.
I just love the actor that plays the Newman character. I just think he's
Yeah,
Jason. No,
yeah,
that's not Jason Alexander. That's the other dude. But
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So I thought he was really funny in that film. I enjoyed that, and it had Jeff Goldblum in there as the skeptical scientist who's like saying,
yeah. He
I
was
think.
great. He
Is
was
you
great.
think that you're gonna just make a lot of money and everything will be great, but nature, nature will has other plans. Things won't go
Right.
wrong here,
He's the voice of reason.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, happy Dinosaur Day. Why don't we end by talking about just naming your favorite dinosaur? So which species of dinosaur is your favorite of all time?
I gotta go with the Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus. Okay. And my favorite is going to be
Did I take your favorite?
no, no.
Okay.
My favorite, and this is true when I was a little kid too. My favorite is Triceratops, and
Okay.
the reason I like Triceratops so much is because, he was just a plant eater, just wanted to be left alone. And then when the big bully came in the room, the Tyrannosaurus, it was like, here's my dinner, Triceratops. I'm gonna munch this guy. Because he's like, I'm Tyrannosaurus. I can do whatever I want. And the Triceratops is like, no, you don't. You know, and the next thing Tyrannosaurus has got a horn in his gut. It's like, oh my God, no, you stabbed me. And Triceratops is like, that's right. You wouldn't leave me alone. Oh, you know. So, and they speculate, the scientists speculate how many times did Triceratops, take out a Tyrannosaurus that was coming after it. And, probably good. It probably happened quite a few times over the millions of years that because sometimes they try to put dinosaurs together that didn't live at the same time. Like they would say,
Yeah.
what if you had a Tyrannosaurus with with saber-toothed cat? Not a dinosaur, but you could put those two together and well, they didn't live in the same time period, obviously.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, we kind of went way over our limit here on time limit on this video, but it's kind of fun talking about dinosaurs. Okay, any other comments?
No, but have a great dinosaur day
Yes.
next
Have a
time it
great
comes around.
next time it comes around. Happy Dinosaur Day, y'all. Bye.